Ladies and gentlemen, friends, listeners and colleagues, here we are again, another podcast session, and I'm very happy to introduce you to Teddy Zebitz, somebody I've known and worked with. And Teddy, it's a great pleasure to have you on board. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Chris. Good to see you again. As always, mate, we've been working here in Saudi Arabia together, so it's good to see you again. Thank you very much.
Yep, as I said to you, Teddy, I remember that office, I remember that view, and I can imagine how blue the sky is at the moment. So you're a lucky man. Yeah,
it's winter time here, so we are enjoying 25 to 30 degrees Celsius. So we are really enjoying this time of the year. It's really accommodating. So thank you very much. I know that it's a bit different in Europe. A lot of snow, I can imagine.
Yeah, we had that a few days ago, and now it's drizzle and grey. So I'm sure you can remember that as well. And not the best, but we're getting there. The days are getting longer and the light's beginning to shine a bit brighter at the end of the tunnel. So please God, things will improve now over the next few months.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And as you said, let's hope that there's a lot of light by the end of this tunnel. Now we've been in this pandemic for almost a year, since 11th of March. So let's hope that all the endeavors and activities that are going on are yielding results within the coming months.
Yeah, indeed, sir. Now, as the Chief Air Cargo Officer, can you just give a little bit of background? How did you manage to arrive in Saudi? And then a little bit, just very briefly, what have been your experiences now through the pandemic?
Thank you very much, Chris. Yes, so well, my background is passenger and cargo airlines since 1983. So I've been in the game for many years. Been working with Scandinavian Airlines and Emirates and others. And then also been having a stint on other types of businesses, and not least, which I enjoy and still enjoy, teaching at universities. But there came an opportunity to come here in 2017 by autumn to see whether we could continue the business and grow and make this a prosperous business in Saudi Arabia. And you were there at the time as well. So a lot of changes during that time. So I've been here since 2017 with Saudi Cargo. Beautiful company, beautiful people. A lot of talents, young people are coming into the business, really encouraged about being part of transportation and logistics and services on a totally different level. So I'm very optimistic about the future here. And for me, it's about being part of a Vision 2030 that the country has set out with very ambitious goals for the transportation and logistic industry in the MENA region, but also in KSA. So our part is to play a role as a champion in this country when it comes to improving the logistics and the international connectivity towards the world. So, and we have a small team, but very effective team that are working with these 180 aircrafts, including 7 freighters and our trucking network in Europe and so on and so forth. We are operating to most of the continents, and we are part of the SkyTeam Cargo Alliance, where we are now chairing the alliance since 1st of January. So I'm very optimistic about the future for us in the MENA region and in KSA. So that's the background, and that is what we are trying to do here in Saudi Arabia with pretty good results, I would say.
Yeah, no. But I mean, I can imagine, Teddy, obviously, as things were changing, and like you said, I was there for several years, and the speed of change and the development and the upgrades and the way it was structured, it's amazing. Not just in Saudi Cargo, but also the country itself. Absolutely incredible. It's an incredible example of how things can happen so quickly. Now, with that in mind, and obviously with the pandemic, for cargo, it must have been a fantastic year as well, just like in the rest of the industry. So as far as, being an enabler with the supply chain and keeping the wheels of business and just basic people's needs going, it must have been an exciting time there for you, Teddy.
Yeah, on the backdrop of a terrible crisis globally with COVID, and let's hope that we are getting out of that situation soon. everybody has been affected globally on this. But for the air cargo industry, as opposed to the main airline, we have of course had a role in order for us to keep the wheels running and get the essential goods and going into Saudi Arabia and the MENA region, not least, but also to other parts of the world, making sure that pharmaceuticals and food and e-commerce are moving with the speed that air cargo really have demonstrated that it can lift in troublesome times. It has also shown the importance of the industry. I think that nobody has really, recognized the industry and its importance as it has been over the past 8-9 months. Really to be the sole or maybe the primary enabler for keeping trade going globally. That is for e-commerce, so people can still do a bit of trading, but also for pharmaceuticals and the essential foodstuff to keep the wheels going for the countries. And this has been exciting. It's been exciting for the team. And it has also learned how to manage a crisis that we've never seen before. And the learnings that we come out of this with can hopefully give the industry a boost going forward, and making sure that we also develop as an industry. That this industry might not have the speed when it comes to change in the past, but I think that the industry really have demonstrated over the past year how fast the industry can change and move as conditions are changing by the day and week, because countries are closing down or there's lockdowns. Then you have to do whatever is necessary to keep the wheels running. It's been really, on a backdrop of a terrible COVID situation, it has been really exciting to see how the organization and the air cargo industry has embraced this challenge and done a fairly good or really good job in many instances to keep the pharma going, protective equipment, and so on and so forth, really being the prime enabler.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Teddy. I think the regulatory bodies and the advisory and the representative parties, they've all pulled together. And I would say, when people look back on this now, they'll see a compression of probably 10 years efforts rolled into one, and how effective it can be. And touch wood, please God, as we move forward, people will remember the speed at which things could be done and introduced, and there'll be more enablers than administrative blockers as we move forward. So I totally agree with you there. Something you touched on earlier, Teddy, about your background in teaching, and I know you've got a big focus on letting people know what to do, how to do it, but most importantly why to do it, so that the simplicity and sustainability can be generated. And like you just said there, this pandemic and this crisis has probably taught people more, because when you go into an organization or a country and you want to develop local talent, you're always telling them, what you did, or I don't mean you, but any expat or anybody, but what you did, why you did it, what it was like. Now they've got some real experience themselves of how to deal with this crisis. So it must have really brought some of the local talent really fastly forward.
Yeah, I think so. I know so, and I think that what we try to do, and we always try to do, is to try to figure out what the purpose is. Why are we here? Why are we making a difference? And for our industry, I think it has been very clear that we have been the prime enabler and making a difference for many countries as an industry. For our sake, it has been a way of communication. Why is it so important that we go to work and lift not only versus Vision 2030, which we are working at here, but also what is it that we are bringing to the table every day, for businesses and for society. And that has really kept the motivation high, not least among the younger generation here. So they really understood the purpose of why we're here, what it is that we are trying to do. And, as you mentioned, try to do the impossible also under very difficult situation. And it has been challenging times over the past year, and everybody has in this industry, in the air cargo industry, have done an extraordinary job, and it has been done safely. We've had very few accidents and incidents of any nature. And I'm very proud of that as well. So we're really taking good care of our people in these draining times where so much uncertainty is there. But the purpose and the purpose building, making sure that everybody understands their role and what the higher purpose is for society and businesses, it has been good for us to, not because of this situation, but it has been very clear of what it is that we have achieved.
Yeah, no, I agree. And if anything, it really endorses even more so the Vision 2030 and why that was put in place in the first instance. So it's dovetailing nicely now together. Now, Teddy, during the period, and as you mentioned PPE, the charter side of your business must have been booming.
Both the charter side of the business, where we're operating our 747 freighters and the 777 freighters, but also our passenger freighters that we introduced 2 weeks after 11th of March. So we did it fairly quick, making sure that we were operating globally to the most vital destinations in order to bring protective equipment into the country, but also essentials like pharma and food. So yes, that business has been good over the past year and continue to be good on the backdrop of continued COVID issues. And we've tried to be agile and try to listen to the customers on where their needs were, whether it was from London or whether it was from Hong Kong or Singapore, to make sure that we make sure that the network was designed in order for us to meet the need of not only this region, but also supporting other regions that had a need for transporting of protective equipment during the period.
Yeah, no, brilliant. You mentioned there about agile, and I think that's something that people were talking about several years ago, but this crisis again has sped things up. So, instead of flexibility, we're talking about agility and resilience. We're talking more now about continuity and sustainability, and all those things are so important now, and people are paying more attention to them. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely, and for us it has really been a key word for us that we understand that it has to come with effectiveness and efficiency, because otherwise it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And therefore the word agility means much more than flexibility in this matter, because this is sustainable. We need to move with the markets and the needs from customers and society. And that can only happen if we are agile in our approach as the world around us are evolving. Yeah,
I remember in my sporting days, which unfortunately were quite a way back, but I remember coaches always used to tell you when you're gonna get a tackle, you need to pivot. You need to be able to move your weight around so that you're still in the same position, but you're not going to get knocked off so easy. So I think that's what we're aiming. That's what we're aiming to do in the industry. But I think also, Teddy, I know you used to focus a lot, and we spoke about it, on making things simple and not having complexity and all these problems. So again, I think the focus now, and people are talking about how do we build back better and bring back better and release the legacy of waste and all those nice terms. But I genuinely think the industry now, and as you said, has received more recognition than ever before. Any youngsters thinking of a career, this is going to open their eyes and open their minds. And I think the next few generations of people wanting to come in and with different ideas is going to make the industry even better than ever it was before.
Yeah, and as you said, I think that we've fast forwarded that exponentially over the past year, also by demonstrating what can be done. And as you said, simplicity and process optimization is key word for me. Simplicity, making if our organization understands our own industry and our role and what it is that we are bringing to the table, it's much easier to translate it into customers and how we can serve our customers' needs if we understand the process ourselves. And the more simple it is, the easier it is to translate it.
Yeah, 100%. Now, another area of our industry that, when we met up at conferences or meetings or when we're on visits, etc., it's the GHA carrier relationship. And I think also now, carriers have appreciated the service levels and the difficulties of the GHA a lot more, and there seems to be a lot more collaboration and what's a consideration of how you deal with something when it's so fluid and schedules are changing, and like you said, borders are closing, borders are opening. You know, how do you shut down? How do you rapidly open up again? All the issues with staffing. It's a big concern, but everybody seems to have rallied round and it's going quite well.
Yeah, and I think that the key were communication, because everybody also knew that beforehand, but we are part of an ecosystem, whether it's ground handlers or trucking or airports, airlines, forwarders. We are all part of the same game to serve the customers. And, you know, today this trade is the volume is about 1% of the global volumes when it comes to the total trade, but it's 35% of the total value of the global trade that are being transported on air cargo. So we play a pivotal role in order for trade and prosperity for countries that are being served. And that is only being served effectively if all the players in the ecosystem are participating and are moving in the same direction, and with, you know, a high level of communication between the parties.
Yeah.
One key enabler that will even improve that over time is the rapid involvement of digitization that we've been working on for some years now. But I see that there is actually something going on now where we can say that we are on the right track. And it has taken some time in this industry, but I think that the investments now are being made and processes are now clear, and everybody understands that they are part of this ecosystem, and everybody has to participate in order for this to be a success for the end users.
Yeah, I've been saying to many people, as long as I can remember, there was always somebody, including myself at times, say, why on earth are we still dealing with an airway bill?
Yeah.
And all the documentation. And now, if it's the sanitization leverage that's going to make the change, at least hopefully somewhere now it's going to start to change. And like you say, these different initiatives, you've got the brew cargo, you know, you got the community systems, and people being a lot more open to sharing data, which at the end of the day is the new gold and the new oil. So the better we share the data, you know, the better everybody's going to be. And digitization will make a difference in some cases, but it's also going to improve most cases.
Definitely so, and we are investing in this area quite substantially, and so are other carriers. And actually, you can see it as a competitive advantage, but basically this is a community that needs to step up, all of us, because if we don't do it as an ecosystem, you know, it will not serve the customers well. And I think that everybody understands that end to end.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I think it would be remiss of me not to, as I've mentioned GHAs, not to mention SAL, especially as they just had 1 year anniversary, and I'm sure Omar, whose tag is everything as well. So please send him my best regards when you see him. Tell him I still miss his Monday meetings. But SAL have also had a major change, haven't they?
Yes, and very impressive development over the past 12 months, as you said. SAL is our ground handling unit, and substantial investment has been made in upgrade of the terminals in Dammam, Jeddah, and Riyadh, taking care of pharma facilities, but also the processes, and investing in new terminals to enhance the capacity at all stations. And also the process from terminal to aircraft and such. Tremendous development, new brand, new people in place. I'm very optimistic on their behalf, and I will send your regards to Omar, which is heading this.
Yeah, please do. And they've also recently opened their the pharma facility in Riyadh, so that was perfect timing as well with the vaccines on the way.
Yes, perfect timing there, and then in Jeddah we are already in place, and so are Dammam. And I think that during this crisis, when it comes to pharmaceutical, we really stepped up from original airport to delivery here in Saudi Arabia. And I can give you an example of that. The latest vaccine that came, I believe, last week. 25 minutes after block on the aircraft at arrival, the vaccines were in the trunk of the truck from the customer, receiving customer. 25 minutes, and it just showed that we are geared for that now, and I'm also very optimistic on that part. We are, focusing on specials because that's the value-adding product that we have. So we are in big time into that game, with a product portfolio of 15 different products for serving different types of needs, everything from live animal to race cars to pharmaceuticals and so on. So the terminals has been upgraded to handle this, and I think that they're doing a great job today.
Yeah, no, I remember your focus on introducing the specials with the financial benefit to everybody. And as you said, now to have such a fast track process, so that's involved clearance with customs, it's involved all the handling, the ramp, vehicles, everything access. I mean, that's a pretty efficient fast track route there, Teddy.
Yeah, and everybody again in the ecosystem has participated in this. Without the positive involvement from customs and other parties here, it wouldn't be possible. So the past 2 or 3 years we've seen a tremendous involvement within the ecosystem to make it happen. And some of the issues that we had beforehand, I think that we've moved long way since then.
Yeah, no, good. And also talking about the ecosystem, obviously GACA has had a big role to play with each of the airports and GACA 151. So the emphasis on compliance and standards and confirming that they're in place with the validation and verification exercise. It's I remember it very well. It's quite a grueling task, but once it was done, it also gave a level of confidence as to where the organisation was, and a solid foundation then from SAC to change to SAL. So, the airport authorities have done a good job as well over there. Yes. by responding and being tougher with everybody who's got a GACA 151 license.
Yeah, and it's in everybody's interest to have high standards.
Yeah.
So again, if we're working towards the same goals, it's beneficial for all, and they have done a tremendous job.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And obviously with tourism now, one of the things that I've noticed, and even some of my family said, Dad, just started to see adverts for, holidays in Saudi. And at first they thought it was Turkey or it was Oman. But I mean, that's going to make a big difference as well, Teddy.
It's going to make a huge difference. Again, I have to mention Vision 2030 and what's been done on different types of projects that I'm following from a distance, whether it's the Red Sea project or whether it's Neom. This will make a significant impact on the future tourism industry here in Saudi Arabia. And that will, of course, also give us an opportunity to get more capacity on the bellies of future aircrafts, because what's happening on the upper deck will have an impact on how much capacity will be available for us on the lower deck.
Exactly. It's all good news. And also with the events that they're starting to really focus on. I mean, it's a shame about the golf this year, obviously, but please God, again, touch wood, it'll be around very soon. Yeah. Now, Teddy, the other issue you said there about this year that Saudi is chairing the alliance, the SkyTeam. Now, what would you say now has been the benefit of being part of a bigger group and now obviously chairing that, which is a great, it's a great opportunity.
Well, for SkyTeam Cargo, the alliance, which is the only major alliance within the industry, and it's powering 18% of the global volumes. So 18% of the global volumes are going on these 11 carriers. So we, of course, have an opportunity to influence the industry as the biggest alliance there is. We are working actively with the alliance to streamline the product portfolio, so it's understandable what the customers on what it is that we can deliver for different types of verticals, whether it's automotive or whether it's live animals and others. So set some high standards, at the terminals and in the industry in general. And then, of course, there's the power of being a little bit bigger than just one. So there's, of course, some procurement issues. There's possibilities of having joint purchasing is an example that we've been working on now. And that's not only for putting some pressure on our partners, not at all. This is about setting some standards for the industry. Okay, so we get the quality up, but it's also about sustainability, in my view, going forward.
Yeah.
Why would we have two trucks that are operating on parallel lines instead of having one truck that
exactly.
is? No.
Yeah.
So it's also about the dialogue on for me at least, for how we can sustainable move this industry forward. But there are some elements there. The power of being more than one, being 11 airlines, powering 18% of the global aviation cargo trade. And then, of course, set some high quality standards for the industry to follow.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, it's another good strategy move. I remember once saying to you, I wouldn't like to play chess against you.
We can play something else where you'll be winning, I'm sure.
That would be a good one. Yeah. No, but that was good. And now, Teddy, moving forward, you know, what's your main strategy and tactics now moving forward? Please God, as soon as the vaccines start to take effect and as soon as people start to become more confident and consumer confidence comes back, what do you see as the next challenges?
Yes, for us, it's about continuing the path that we took upon us in 2017 to really be part of modernizing not only ourselves, but also try to influence the industry in a positive way. It's about the issues that we discussed earlier about digitization, but also having an effective, high quality that is reliable for the industry, so they know when they can bring cash in for the goods that we carry. And making sure that there are that there's safe transportation of the essentials into this country. And then by the basics of it, we want to be the best serving Saudi Arabia and the MENA region.
Yeah.
That is our whole purpose. Our purpose is to make sure that we are the best alternative for the customers to serve the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the MENA region. And that's what we're working on every day. And what does that mean? It means that we have to serve the markets where the KSA and the MENA region are trading. So we are operating to the right destinations with the right frequency, making sure that speed, where speed is essential, that we can deliver that to the customers. By the end of the day, it's serving the society, but also making sure that the customers that we are serving are prospering. So goods are transformed into cash for them. So that's the whole purpose of being there. And the USP with air cargo is speed and reliability.
Yeah.
So that's why we are here.
Yeah, no, 100%. Sometimes people forget that, but you're right, 100%. And e-commerce, obviously, I mean, my God, talk about the explosion that e-commerce was expected to achieve. It's far surpassed everything, and it's cascading down now across everywhere. Now that's not going to stop. The models will be slightly different, and you know there's a huge returns business in certain countries, but thankfully in the Middle East it's a lot better, and especially in Saudi. But how are you seeing that now influence the way a carrier like yourself gets involved with the whole process of e-commerce?
We have to be part of this process, and e-commerce can only be powered by, when it comes to transport, can only be powered by air cargo because it requires speed. The customers today want their goods to land on their doorstep as fast as possible, preferably within 48 hours. And therefore, air cargo is the only way that you can do that transporter. Our role will be to team up with the biggest players and the medium-sized players in this space when it comes to e-commerce. And we are already doing that, and we are doing it on both in the US, in Europe, and in China. where we have the biggest e-commerce players.
Yeah.
So it has to be a team up. It has to be based on the quality that we can deliver for timely services that also include the other ecosystems that we have discussed earlier, ground handling and others. So we make sure that it lands on the customer's doorstep within 48 hours. That's how they made their success. We are the enabler and or the power behind the speed, but it can only happen in a partnership. And therefore, we are focusing on partnerships with the big ones and the medium-sized. And we've had that in place for some time now, and we are developing that every day.
Okay, and so I mean, it makes a lot of sense. So obviously, powered by and partnered with,
Yes.
And are you getting involved down to the last mile, first mile, last mile?
Yeah, we're looking at that opportunity here, but we are also partnering up with others where they are placing their e-commerce centers. Typically, if we take one center, could be Liège in Europe. So we're seeing what type of centers are there for the future and how these will be developed, and how we can, create value-adding services for these in a partnership with these players.
So that would be like a continual one drop into the service centers or supply centers and then distributing from there.
Could be one option, but there are other options that we are looking at. But this is definitely an area that we are exploring, and there are huge opportunities in this space, as you said. The growth within the air cargo industry, when it comes to exponential growth, about 10 to 12%, is e-commerce.
Yeah.
So this is the growth, and as I said, it has to come with a quality tag, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
it has to be reliable and it has to be quick.
Yeah, 100%. And it's always been, I mean, it's always been something where parts of the industry, apart from the integrators and the specialists, your Amazons, etc., they know exactly what they're doing and they know exactly how much control they're in. So this principle of powered by and in partner with, it's a different way of a similar success model. But also it's how to identify, like you said, a purpose and a storyline that makes everything make sense and is a realistic alternative.
Yes, and we, of course, when we have these types of discussions, we are saying, okay, to what extent should the integration be? Because if we are not relevant in this space, some of them are big enough to do it themselves. So,
Exactly.
So we really have to be very specific on what role we are playing now and in the future. And I think that we have a pretty good strategy for that.
Yeah, which includes the airports and everything. So if everybody in the whole group starts to focus on baking a bigger cake instead of deciding who's getting what slice,
yes.
Then it's a realistic option, which makes a lot of sense.
It does, and as you said, this is one area of huge growth, and then pharmaceuticals and other categories with high-speed needs are also growing, whilst general cargo is maybe not growing to the same extent.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense from discussions way back as to where the influence and where the focus should be put, which is specialist cargo and special cargo. So yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. Now, as far as Saudi is concerned, now with regards to the way the whole business is going, okay, and the link up with the carrier, lots of things are happening in the region, and the region, has sort of looked at itself with the aircraft type that they've been operating, the types of mix, is it going to be more bigger, smaller aircraft moving forward, more point to point? How do hubs establish what they did before, etc.? There's an awful lot of opportunity, isn't there, Teddy, coming into the business?
Yes, there's huge opportunities, and I'm sure that we will do our very best to fulfill it's a Vision 2030. So we have a plan now up to 2030, both when it comes to capacity development and such. And so there's a specific plan on how we want to move forward and serve this country better than anybody else, and that entails growth.
Yeah.
So we are pretty sure on how we want to unfold this year by year. As you know me, I'm not leaving this to any coincidence. It's pretty clear on how we want to develop from 2021 up to 2030.
Yep, yep. I read that in that familiar smile of yours, Teddy. And with that smile, it's a good way to end, because I know you've got another appointment now very quickly. So I would just like to wish you and everybody and everybody I know still there, the very best of success. Please give my regards. Saudi is of great interest, to everybody globally, but especially in the industry, because they're doing so many things. Good luck, sir, and I hope to see you soon. And wishing you great success, Teddy.
Thank you very much, Chris. It's been a pleasure, and stay healthy and safe all around you, both you and your family. It's important that we keep our priorities straight, and that is to keep yourself and your family healthy at these challenging times. So thank you very much for having me today, Chris.
It's a pleasure. All the best, Teddy.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.